Communist Party. They stated at the time that pictures, including the Tank Man picture, would not be censored in other countries. That the Communist Party would allow other countries to do what they wanted with this picture until now. Microsoft on Friday said that its search engine Bing yielded no results when users entered Pac-Man in the United States because of an accidental human error. Really? Don't think so. So, you can't believe communists, but you can't believe capitalists, and you can't believe anybody, and that really pisses me off because you know what? The lying is so extreme now, and people are just contract or no contract, signing a contract or not. It doesn't matter. You know, it seems that most of the world that one's word means nothing. All right. The colossal sell-off of America to China by the Biden and family and John Kerry and John Kerry's stepson. So, if you want to read all about it, this is a pretty good article, and it gives you a very good idea of how corrupt are these people. So unbelievably disgusting that it just, there's a repulsion that you feel when you look at their faces, and I'll speak for myself, that's what I feel. Disgusting, despicable people that will sell out anything, sell off anything. They have no moral core. James Biden. Brotherly love. Huge amounts of money due to their corruption. China. Do you think Biden is really going to protect the United States when Biden has these financial interests with the CCP? China also embedded itself in Canada. So China's in Mexico, China's in Canada, China's all over the United States, China, China, China. Do you think maybe China wants control over the United States to the point where they will fund a cultural revolution here? That's my next video. Black Lives Matter. China. They're a link. It's a Marxist organization. So, 30 iconic U.S. brands that aren't made in America. We don't make anything here. If you don't make anything here, if you're not producing, then you have nothing to sell. If the other country's producing, and we happen to be importing what they're producing, who gets the money when Americans are buying those products? China. We've made China a giant. The United States did that. Nixon, when he opened the doors to China, it's been a systematic, incremental process of destroying the United States, building up China, Joe, Monopoly, Black & Decker, Craftsman, Ford,
Fenders used to be made all over the world.
Chevrolet, American Girl, Gerber, Under Armour.
They make them out of different woods.
Sardines.
So I guess they could just import the wood
and
slap a name on them.
Let's keep America great again, Donald Trump collection. So, the Fortune Global 500 is now more Chinese than American. The U.S. and Chinese economies are intertwined in so many ways, it's hard to imagine them ever truly decoupling. So all of this bullshit that you hear coming out of our leaders about China this and China that, and it goes back a long time. So don't think Trump wasn't part of it. That trade war that went on endlessly, there was no solution, but there was a solution for Trump to allow the Communist Party to purchase companies that actually affect our national security. Okay, if people could only understand that these people are truly the Bolsheviks of 1917, and also, Mao's useful idiots to destroy a country and its people. But look, when you have a people, when your population is filled with a majority of people who don't care about anything and only care about themselves, that's including this guy and his family and government officials all over the place, school boards, everybody cares nothing about what's really important. They care about themselves. You go down. You just go down. So, from made in China to owned by China, gobbling up U.S. assets, China reportedly manufactures more than 90% of U.S. antibiotics, vitamin C, ibuprofen, hydrocortisone, as well as 70% of acetaminophen. Not sure if I pronounced that right, but Reddit, China's Tencent, invested $150 million in 2019. TikTok, that's collecting all of your faces, your voices, all of those videos that you just love to actually demean your own self. Most of this TikTok crap is so humiliating. I can't believe people post what they post. Warner Music. Okay, either they purchased outright and own it completely, or they have purchased enough to have a voice in the company. Riot Games, League of Legends, AMC Theaters, other American movie theaters, movie studios, Dick Clark, United States selling pretty much everything that's American to China. Legendary entertainment group, Smithfield Foods, goes to China. Who controls the food? Controls the people. GE Appliances, a party delegate to the 19th Congress of the Chinese Communist Party, plans to connect Chinese software with as many American households as possible. Imagine by touching the screen on your fridge. You can buy things from online shops. By using apps on your cell phone, you can check which laundry room close to you has washing machines, and all of that data goes to China, their Communist Party. Ingram Micro, it touts itself as the global leader in technology and supply chain operations and the leading global cloud ecosystem and digital commerce platform, generating $50 billion in annual revenue from operations across 6 continents. HNA now controls all of the operations. HNA by the CCP what to buy. Get into these negotiations and buy it. Airbnb. Notably, Airbnb pledged to donate $500,000 to Black Lives Matter, and the NAACP, George Floyd protests, the Brooklyn Nets, they're buying sports teams. Ironman triathlons. Nobel Learning Communities. Nobel Learning Communities, 190 schools in 19 states, 25,000 students, Chinese. Lexmark International. The deal for the Lexington, Kentucky-based printer company required approval from U.S. regulators. Obama approved it. Strategic hotels. One of the hotels is close to a naval base in San Diego. Lenovo, I don't know how to pronounce it. Lenovo bought the U.S.-based Motorola cell phone company from Google, which helped the Chinese tech company become one of the world's largest mobile phone manufacturers. China's Lenovo. International Business Machines Corporation Division. They bought, Lenovo Group bought the computer server hardware division. Obama approved that purchase as well. Waldorf Astoria in New York. And this automotive, I'm really sorry. I don't know what's going on with me, but I told you I'm going to continue until the fat lady sings. So AVIC, the Chinese Communist Party's state-owned aviation industry corp, sits at the heart of the Chinese military-industrial complex. In 2017, it bought 51% of American precision parts manufacturer Hynix. The other 49% was purchased by Biden and Kerry. Should I say that again? Do I have to? Biden and Kerry own 49%. The Chinese Communist Party owns 51%. And they received, of course they received approval to make this purchase during the Obama-Biden administration. We are being so sold out. Americans turn their little brains away from the truth. Well, we're going to feel it. We've already been feeling it, and we're going to feel it big. Really big. Because, well, the next video is the Communist Party in China's link to Black Lives Matter.
so it is predictive programming, about a massive power grid shutdown. But wait, we've heard this in a lot of other places, and I'm about to show you the predictive programming in movies and films and how they constantly have been pushing this and preparing people for it. No different than the videos and the stuff that you've all seen on alien invasions, from Independence Day to War of the Worlds, Star Wars, all that stuff. Nonsense. No different than the Outbreak, movie after movie after movie after movie, right? About an outbreak. And about people getting ill and quarantining and jabs. Interesting. Well, we've had them with the power grid, which I'm about to show you. Before I do that, I just want to remind you to check out the website at golfanduprising.com. I won't go on a long rant here, but I did just upload a video about magnets, jabs, magnets, jabs, jabs, magnets. You can connect the dots there, I hope. And those are the types of videos that are up over there, important stuff that people should see. And if they're not aware of what I'm talking about, then you definitely need to join and at least check these things out and be aware of them. Because, well, these are things they don't want you talking about on YouTube. Why? Think about why. Right? Always ask the why and then think about why they won't let you, but why Jimmy Kimmel and all these other people can, as long as they deflect and make a mockery of it. John Oliver, Jimmy Kimmel, that's why. They can get away with it because they're deflecting so people don't believe it because they don't want anyone to believe it. So that's on the website. All right. So I'll start here. The Energy Secretary says enemies are capable of shutting down the U.S. power grid. Sounds like a movie, right? Because it is a movie. What call? That's right. We've seen it in plenty of movies. Roll the footage.
When the lights of the city stop burning.
Blackout.
Yeah, hysterical. When the lines of communication break down.
I tried the car radio and all I got was static.
The laws that hold us together.
Don't you guys have any idea what's going on?
Fall apart. These people are crazy.
Well, people are freaks, man. I heard all this stuff about looting and shootings last night.
Oh my God.
It's bad out there. Some of us have kids, you know.
Where?
They don't know any more about when the power is going on than we do.
You'll do what you were created for.
All contact was lost with most of the world. Everything outside of this circle is in complete darkness as of now.
I don't think anyone's still alive in the quarantine zone. Attack us. Their electromagnetic pulse.
A burst of radiation that knocks out every electrical system in the country.
Here is everything we need to survive.
Survive what?
The looming kablooey.
An EMP? There's no water either. There's nothing. This is all we have. We have each other.
What's going on? What's wrong?
Listen to me very, very carefully. It's all gonna turn off.
What?
It's gonna turn off and it will never, ever turn back on. Miles.
Boy, isn't that insane? And there's other movies too. Think of movies like The Purge when they do the actual purging. I've never seen the movie, but I'm aware of the plot because I've covered it here. They do the actual purging. I'm not sure if the power's out, but I would assume they pull the plug and everything's, everything that's illegal is legal. Just chaos, right? Think about what would happen with a power grid shutdown. These people with their technology. Oh my gosh, how long could they survive? Not long. Not long. There's people who don't even know how to, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that most of the Gen Y doesn't even know how to cut a tomato at this point, so I'd be shocked. I mean, as long as it's on the phone, everything's safe, but without it, maybe it'll cause them to wake up. We'll see. Or it might just cause them to go mad, which is probably what they want. Come begging to Big Brother for them to turn everything back on. They'll do whatever they say. They'll take more jabs. They'll do whatever. And, you know, it won't be take jabs, but it'll be something ridiculous. Sell your soul. Okay, I will. Can I have my phone back? That'll probably be what it is. But you saw the predictive programming there. Now, before I read the article here about our Secretary of Energy, what a wonderful title. How do you become the Secretary of Energy? She's just a big fan of energy? Come on. She's a Secretary of Energy. She's got a PhD in energy. Oh, great. What a wonderful... And she is also out there defending the Bill Gates nuke that's being put up in Wyoming, by the way, of course. Nothing to see there, folks. Nothing to see there. Serenity now. Okay, so... While they're talking about all this stuff of a power grid shutdown, why are they not talking about Plum Island? Why are they not talking about how our government already is supposed to be prepared for an attack on the grid? Oh, is it being shut down from Plum Island? Are they doing it to us? Would Big Brother shut our power grid off? Nodding my head yes. Nodding yes. Do it with me now. That sounds about right. Because Plum Island over there, you remember, I talk about it all the time. CDC was, the disease center of disease control is over there testing out diseases and ticks. Oh, we have Lyme disease. What a coincidence. And now it's a place where they're testing out power failures and the power grid going down. No coincidence that they never really figured out. Well, they gave you some BS excuse probably. Oh, when New York had the power go down in the middle of the summer, 2 summers ago. How about Texas, the power grid? Oh, blame it on the storm. Prepping you for a mass outage. It's coming at some point. That is not fear XXX, okay? That is truth. They're telling us. That's how I know. That's how you should know. Not because we all want to live without power and we're all, trying to get everyone scared. They're literally telling us. The same with the outbreak. They tell you. The same with the aliens. The only reason people think aliens exist because they tell you, then they show you in the movies. Otherwise, if that never happened, nobody would walk around going, I wonder if there's green things up there walking around on other planets. Meanwhile, the funniest part of it that I keep thinking about since the last video I did about Lom and Aleister Crowley drawing the demon is they go to these places like Mars, they claim, of course claim because they don't, and they show us all this footage and it's just red rock everywhere. There's no big Amazon building or office. Where are they building these massive spaceships that they're flying in? They have a metal factory. They have Black Decker up there. Oh, they come down and take our tools and they come and they steal the plastic. I mean, give me a break. How far you could think into the alien stuff and ask questions. If people just automatically leave it. But when it comes to the jab, when it comes to our own government shutting down power grids, they're like, no, it would be Russia. Oh, yeah, because Russia's got nothing better to do. Like, hey, you guys want to troll America? Let's shut down their power grid. Really? Nothing going on? Adversaries of the U.S. are capable of shutting down the nation's electrical grid. Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm admitted Sunday, saying that such cybersecurity attacks are happening all the time. Well, you know who else is also capable of shutting down the power grid? Our own government. That's just crazy. Granholm warned of the system's vulnerabilities amid an uptick of ransomware sieges. Yeah, right. She said, yeah, they do. She told Jake Tapper. Oh, Jake Tapper. Still around, Jake Tapper. Not sure if you've seen my videos on Jake Tapper. His favorite pizza place, you ask? Comet Ping Pong. What a coincidence, right? That's back when I was exposing that in 2016 before it became mainstream. They actually probably scrubbed that off the internet. There was an article with him and his wife go to Comet Ping Pong all the time. It's their favorite pizza place. It's just a coincidence, yeah. It just happens to be the place where all this stuff went. It's a coincidence. That's on my website, by the way, for anyone who wants to watch it. They say they are very maligned actors who are trying even as we speak. Oh, excuse me. Let me start over. She said, yeah, they do. She told Jake Tapper when asked if foreign actors have the ability to just make the power grid go dark. She says there are very malign actors who are trying even as we speak. All right, well, there are plenty of actors. Plenty of them. Jennifer Granholm's one of them. So is Jake Tapper. Pretty good actors, I'd say. Probably better than some in Hollywood, because people actually believe they're telling the truth. Plenty Australia shut down. I mean, oof, they ain't even hiding it. They ain't even hiding it. They said there are thousands of attacks on all aspects of the energy sector and the private sector generally. She said it's happening all the time. This is why the private sector and the public sector have to work together. We must work together. The bottom line is we have to we have to up our games with respect to our cyber defenses. Well, what's going on Plum Island, Senator, or whatever your name is, Secretary of Energy? Tell us more about Plum. I want to see inside Plum Island. Who's there? What's happening? Why are bodies going missing there? Interesting. What are they doing all the time over there? They couldn't even prevent that thing in New York from happening. Are they working hard? Oh wait, they're doing the attacks. Busted. Spoiler alert. They said a military action is on the table as an option to fight back against cybercrime. They said we won't stand for a nation supporting or turning a blind eye to a criminal enterprise. And as the president has said, we are considering all of our options and we're not taking anything off the table as we think about possible repercussions, consequences, or retaliation. Right. What, they're going to retaliate against themselves? That'd be crazy to say, wouldn't it? They take the weapon and then they turn out, it'd be nuts. Retaliate against themselves. These guys are funny, I'll tell you that. They said, she said, should we be contemplating military action? And she said, as I said, all options are on the table. This is a top priority, and all of the U.S., all of us in the cabinet and the National Secretary Council are focused on it and considering all possible consequences. Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. Or are they writing them out? Remember, problem, reaction, solution. That's how it works. So they're writing the problem, they'll wait for the reaction, which they'll know what the reaction will be because it's socially engineered. And then they come in with the resolution, kind of like the jab, you know? So that's the next thing to watch for. You've seen the predictive programming. I just showed it to you. It's all there. They're not hiding it. There will be one at some point, and they have no problem telling you about it. So they're prepping you with these little outages in cities. They're prepping you with, the meat factory's down. What's next? Amazon shut down for a day. Something that'll affect everyone because obviously some meat place doesn't affect anyone really. But they're prepping you. So then when the Amazon one happens, now that they've been talking about it in the mainstream news, and I'm not saying it's going to be Amazon, but just use them hypothetically. Something that affects people who buy stuff or are always on there. They'll be, Amazon's down for 48 hours. They've hacked into it. You know, or something else that people, a daily thing, right? It'll be pretty unbelievable, but very believable. Do you know what I mean? I thank everyone for listening to today's show. Reminder, check out the website at callfornuprising.com, $2.99 a month. I appreciate everyone who's over there. Hope to see all you guys over there as well. I want to thank the Patreons and thank all of you for your support. Thumbsing up the videos, watching the ads helps to go a long way. And again, folks, when the power goes out, don't look to Russia. Look to Big Brother. I thank you again. God bless all of you and your families.
Everybody, you are listening to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream. Congratulations for getting here early, and also congratulations to Sigger the Beast over on Twitch. That's right, good job, Twitch. You are the winner once again. Now, here's the thing, folks. The Canary Cry Radio YouTube channel grabbed a strike last week, and we put in the appeal, and it got rejected. So we're sitting at 2 strikes over on the Canary Cry YouTube channel. But it can happen to any channel, sure to follow us on multiple locations. It's the only way to make sure that you won't miss a show. You can do that by heading to linktr.ee/Canary Cry News Talk. That's linktr.ee/Canary Cry News Talk. And there's all sorts of fun links there. You can find everything we're doing, all the different places, and of course find the show notes, things like that. Okay, folks, we are going to be starting the show in just a few seconds. So make sure to stay hydrated. Get ready, because we got a great show coming up for you. Okay, here we go.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gossip. They discuss this week's happened events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is June 7th, 2021. This is episode 347. And today, Ominous Anonymous. And Razzle Dazzle, I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And this is Gon's, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Welcome to the podcast where we bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And coming off of an interesting weekend, I was trying to catch the Mayweather-Logan Paul fight last night. Did you watch some boxing, some fisticuffs?
I did not watch it, no. But I was sort of keeping track of the fact that it existed. Did you catch it? What was the deal?
No, you know what? I think it's hilarious. I'm not going to pay whatever it was, $100 to watch it on Showtime or whatever. But it's interesting when you go on social media, you can see a bunch of people either broadcasting it, from the back of the living room, where they can kind of get away with it for a little while. Or the one I thought was brilliant was there were some people wearing sunglasses, and they would reflect, from the TV or the computer screen, and you can watch a little bit of it. But the problem was people who labeled it, the big fight, Mayweather versus Paul, they got shut down pretty quickly. But a lot of hugging, a lot more hugging than I thought was going to happen on that fight, or at least from what I saw. Yeah, but ended up in a draw, which I guess because there's no.
Well, that's no fun.
Well, it's because it's an exhibition. If it was an actual judge, Mayweather would have won because he landed, half of his punches, whereas Logan Paul landed like a tenth of all his punches. But anyway.
Okay.
Here's my deep stats. Here's kind of my pitch to you, Basil.
No.
It's become a thing, for like YouTubers to start or to like do these big fights.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say? You and I, maybe not you versus I, but you and I tag team. Like the Bushwhackers back in the day in WWF.
Sure.
And we call out some other podcasters in our niche to some kind of fight.
Maybe if it's a giant robot battle. I think we need to have some mech suits.
Yeah,
maybe
I don't know.
We have two separate mech suits, and then during the last round of the fight, our mech suits combine to make a giant tiger mech suit.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know the kind of audience we would grab. We're trying to appeal to the normies out there who otherwise wouldn't know who we are,
Yeah,
I don't know.
We gotta get that Joe Rogan crowd.
Yeah, right. So anyway, just an idea. If anybody in the chat, I see some people in the chat mentioning call for an uprising. He's one guy though. We need to find somebody with like two guys.
Too aggressive, man.
Why?
Maybe esports. We gotta bring it into esports. I don't wanna hurt anybody or get hurt. Not only because I've, never taken a karate class in my
with that.
Okay, folks, it's time for the Flippy update. For those who might be new to the show, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new and fun and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world, and just how there's nothing we can do about it. Today, got an article here from dailymail.co.uk, and the headline reads, "Good boy, Boston Dynamics robot dog can now play the world's slowest game of fetch." Goes like this. Boston Dynamics mechanical dog Spot is billed as a utility robot able to perform a variety of tasks, from navigating dangerous terrain to carrying heavy payloads to enslaving mankind and patrolling the streets for insubordination. And now the robotics company has demonstrated that it can also play the world's least thrilling game of fetch, using a Spot model equipped with a robotic arm attachment. We got a Flippy Spot combo here. Boston Dynamics has released a tutorial showing how owners of the four-legged machine can teach it to pick up a thrown toy and to return it to the thrower. The process involves taking advantage of robots' machine learning capabilities to recognize and interact with objects in the environment around it. And the tutorial shows users how they can train the machine to see the toy. The tutorial calls for the user to capture at least 400 images of the rope toy in a specific environment to ensure it can recognize it from a variety of angles. If they would like Spot to play fetch elsewhere, say outside or in the living room, they would need to repeat the process again for each new environment. Oh my gosh. You gotta throw this rope 400 times in each new environment for Spot to even be able to recognize it. The result is a very slow facsimile of the activity favored by the machine's flesh and blood and inspiration as the robot dog slowly inches up to the toy, picks it up with its arm, turns and walks to the owner to drop it off before backing away. And we got some video here, and it's probably the least exciting video of Spot the robot dog. But let's finish it out here. The company acknowledges that someone might have more fun playing fetch with a living and breathing dog. The Spot has top speed. Yeah, right. In a moment of flash inspiration, Boston Dynamics realizes dogs are better than robots. The Spot has a top speed of 3 miles per hour, and at $74,500 per robot, plus the cost of the robotic arm attachment, a real dog would seem the cheaper and better choice for the game, but notes that teaching the robot fetch demonstrates a number of potential applications. Quote, "Of course, we don't expect to see Spot regularly playing fetch in the park, but these same features serve as the basis for more practical applications. For example, automated roadside trash cleanup," said Andrew Berry, a senior roboticist in the Spot manipulation team. Quote, "You might teach Spot to recognize litter as distinct from other items in the environment, pick it up, and bring it to a trash can. Dog toys are just a jumping off point to a range of real-world possibilities." Now, Gons, we've been following Spot for a while. It's always sort of been a side idea that Spot could someday be some sort of pet instead of just a utility beast of burden. But, growing up in the late 90s, early aughts, robot dogs to replace pets is not necessarily a new concept. You remember those little robot puppies that you could get?
Yeah,
You're a few years older than me.
I didn't have them.
I think you just missed the
Yeah,
train.
no, I know what you're talking about. The little silver ones with the...
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Plus, early on, the Tamagotchi thing was big when I was... Or Tamagotchi?
Tamagotchi, you silly goose. Yeah, Tamagotchi. But this is a little different than the actual robot dogs. But fun fact, those old robot dogs, I forgot what they're called, but those little toy ones, they were such a hit in Japan, I believe, that when they stopped making them, there's a whole secondary market for repairing these little robot dogs.
Yeah.
Or they're incredibly expensive. People value those things quite highly. But enough about that dog. This is about the dog than it is for the person. At least it seems that way. Am I right? Dog person?
I mean, in terms of what?
I think the
entertainment
dog
value?
gets more entertainment out of the game of fetch than the human
Oh, like
does.
playing fetch with... Yeah, it's to
Yeah.
get the dog to run around a little bit, have a little purpose in life. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Purpose in life. Wow, there's not a metaphor there. I don't know. But the interesting thing about Spot playing fetch, Spot gets no enjoyment out of this. There is no happiness being brought into the world by Spot chasing down an item. In fact, this would be a game entirely for the person who owns the Spot. And I think, I don't know, I smell psychological operation, guys.
Oh, really? You smell it? It's just covered.
Training the human to play fetch instead of the human training the pet to play fetch.
Yeah, and for those of you just listening, the video is pretty pathetic because it has this guy
It's
throws a little...
excruciating.
Oh, it's horrible. He throws a little... What is it? I don't know. I don't even know what it is. A little dog toy, chewy thing. He throws it maybe, 5 feet in front of him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the robot Spot takes a couple steps, uses his robot arm head, leans over, picks it up with his little hand claw thing, takes 2 steps to the right, and drops it back down.
Yeah, and if you thought that hearing Gons explain that process was boring, trust me, it's more boring watching it.
They had to speed the footage up 10x to make it, a 30-second clip to show the robot Spot doing it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, and to be clear, we understand that the robot Spot currently at its current form is not ready to march down the streets taking over the world, but it's more about the psychological operation of presenting robots as viable alternatives, not just to pets, but also to humans. And I think this is just one more step in that whole play, Gons.
Well, if you put if you put together a graph and you have a normal dog, is kind of a standard line, like a normal line of, hey, this is a dog playing fetch. The curvature of Spot can only go up and towards the real dog, but once it gets there, it's going to just crash right through it and go vertical. You know what I mean? It's not going to be even with the robot or a real dog. It's going to just go from, hey, play fetch to go, dig out, I don't know.
Go bury this body.
Bury the body or go dig up something. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be
Go
ridiculous.
find daddy some Bitcoin.
Sure.
Go dig
All
up
that
some
physical Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, there you go. There's just the next step in the robot takeover, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Sure. And I will just mention that my suggestion for Basil's Flippy Update was rejected.
It
which
was.
is fine. But the story had to do with Elon Musk, who is a theme here in this episode, hailing Israeli startup as the robot future. And there's a company called Bionic Hive from Israel, and Elon was all about it. It's like there's a machine called Squid, which is just a little factory robot that goes around and is able to climb, factory shelves and
if you guys thought that Spot playing fetch was boring, you should have seen this video of this warehouse robot. Look, we've done warehouse robots. The only good thing about that article was that it mentioned the words Elon Musk. And you know what? This is not the Elon Musk show.
No, but there's a lot of Elon stories.
Anymore. Or maybe yet.
Yeah, well, yeah, not yet. We're going to get into all that stuff now. But, yeah, there you go. I mean, it's all the rest of the stories, along with Elon Musk hails Israeli startup as a robot future, or as the robot future. You can go to canarycrynewstalk.com, look for the show notes. There's a section called Additional Stories underneath the stories we cover. And anytime we shed stories off the regular show to keep it a viable length, we will drop it into the Additional Stories section. Kind of like Drudge, when they used to be a news aggregate worth visiting, or
watching on YouTube or anywhere live, please go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, baby.
Like, subscribe, bell button, boom. Like, subscribe, bell button, boom.
So let's get into the Elon story.
Where are the aliens?
It's Elon talking about aliens, but also it was a big Bitcoin weekend.
Bitcoin go to moon.
And this first story comes from MarketWatch.com. Elon Musk's crypto tweets have, quote, destroyed lives, says video purportedly from Anonymous.
Destroyed lives.
They're back. Yeah.
They're back making fun of Elon, infamous hacktivist group, once responsible for shedding light into the deep recesses of corporate and government secrets. Now they're just being mean to spaceman.
Sure, although I'll play the video because they bring up some things. They talk about Elon here and bring up some information about him that a lot of it I was aware of. I don't know if you're aware of it, Mr. Fanboy over there, but we'll see. We'll see. Let me play the video, the actual anonymous video. We could stop it along the way because I tried to edit it down, but it's still about 3 minutes here, so we'll stop anytime you have anything to say, Basil.
Okay.
Or I'll stop it if I want to say something. Here it is.
Greetings, citizens of the world. This is a message from Anonymous for Elon Musk. For the past several years, you have enjoyed one of the most favorable reputations of anyone in the billionaire class because you have tapped into the desire that many of us have to live in a world with electric cars and space exploration. But recently, your carefully created public image is being exposed, and people are beginning to see you as nothing more than another narcissistic rich dude who is desperate for attention.
First off, when's the last time you heard Anonymous use the word dude? Dude.
That didn't actually stand out to me.
Have they used it before? It seemed like the old Anonymous was more like, I don't know, less kind of chatty.
You gotta remember, there is no official structure of Anonymous. Anybody can do anything.
I get it, but it's just a weird tell, you know?
Yeah, it is a point of a note of point of note. I don't know. But I was gonna mention.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if I agree with the statement that Elon has sort of gone without any sort of criticism. I mean, I would say most thinking people, although Elon has a great PR team and, in the media is sort of presented as the cool billionaire. I don't know. I talk to most millennials, and they don't really actually like him very much. They kind of think he's a, I won't say the word on the air.
Let's keep going here, because Anonymous here, alleged, will speak to some of that.
Okay.
It appears that your quest to save the world is more rooted in a superiority and savior complex than it is in actual concern for humanity. This has been obvious to your employees for a long time, who have faced intolerable conditions under your command for years. It is also obvious to the young children working in your overseas lithium mines, which are destroying the local environment as well. You have been open about your willingness to stage coups in order to install dictators in places where your toxic products are being
anything that hasn't been like open information. I
Yeah.
mean, these are all the basic criticisms of Elon Musk and Tesla.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird that we talked about it, and maybe Anonymous is listening to us too, you know.
No, they listen to all.
They listen to everything. They are omnipotent.
They are legion.
Okay, let's keep going.
The energy use argument about proof-of-work mining is a very nuanced conversation that requires a fairly complex understanding of how power grids work and how excess energy is wasted by power companies. This is a conversation that you have been having for over a year and were intimately aware of. But as soon as your main source of income was threatened, you pretended to be clueless in an attempt to play both sides of the fence. Then, your move to create a Bitcoin miner council was rightly seen as an attempt to centralize the industry and take it under your control. Reading from the comments on your Twitter posts, it seems that the games you have played with the crypto markets have destroyed lives. Millions of retail investors were really counting on their crypto gains to improve their lives. This is something that you will never understand because you were born into the stolen wealth of a South African apartheid emerald mine and have no clue what struggle is like for most of the working people in the
Okay,
world.
pause it real quick. This criticism is, look, we have a complicated relationship with Elon Musk here. You know, it's fun to make fun of him. It's fun to, you know, play into his positive PR. It's just fun to kind of mess with his image. But, you know, I'm tired of this, and this is not just applied to Elon. This gets applied to, you know, a lot of influential type people, which is, oh, you made a tweet and ruined people's lives.
Yeah.
Because they just did what you tweeted. Look, if you are basing big life decisions on what somebody tweeted, whether it's the president, whether it's Elon, like, you are taking actions that you are responsible for. I don't buy this thing where, oh, if Elon tweeted about Dogecoin, so I put my whole life savings in it. Oh no, I lost my life savings. It's Elon's fault. I mean, look, I'm all about criticizing billionaires, but that is just a joke. Come on, folks. You gotta use your own brains, educate yourself, make your own decisions. Don't blame it on a billionaire.
Hey, Anonymous is here to defend the plebs. Okay, here we go. We're almost done here.
Okay.
Of course, they took the risk upon themselves when they invested, and everyone knows to be prepared for volatility in crypto, but your tweets this week show a clear disregard for the average working person. As hard-working people have their dreams liquidated over your public temper tantrums, you continue to mock them with memes from one of your million-dollar mansions. You may think you are the smartest person in the room, but now you have met your match. We are Anonymous. We are Legion. Expect us.
There you go. I don't know what
So
that
what?
means.
They're threatening to hack Elon?
Threatening to hack Elon, yeah.
Maybe take control of the robotic arms in the Tesla gigafactories?
Well, either that or anybody that's connected in with the Neuralink, you know, the monkeys.
Yeah. Yeah, that is sort of a direct connection with our sort of criticisms of Neuralink. It's just a matter of time before hackers can get into your brain.
Yeah. Or
They're gonna hack the monkey.
Or I think the one interesting theory is that this whole Anonymous video was created by Elon.
I was gonna say, it's actually a pretty good move for an Elon PR team.
Super controversial, get it out there, people, you know, take sides on the issue. The divide and conquer, you know, brilliance would be in full display here if this was actually Elon.
Yeah, and if you plant the seed that, like, Anonymous is gonna go after Elon, then what is everybody thinking of forever is, I can't wait to see what happens with Elon. Let's watch his every move to see when the hack happens.
The hack, yeah, the anticipated hack of Tesla is the perfect setup, you know, to have Anonymous be the culprits behind it when it happens.
Yeah, so, you know, that's been part of the conversation with all of the cyber pandemic stuff from Klaus Schwab and the hack of the Colonial Pipeline, the JBS meat packing, is that it's kind of one possibility is that these companies are kind of just doing it themselves, or maybe, you know, inviting it in one way or another to create artificial scarcity to increase prices of their product. Because once the price goes up, you have a good reason to increase the price. Once your supply is back and running, you don't really need to lower the price very quick. It's a great way to boost profits. Not saying that I have any firm evidence that that is the case, but that is one possibility. And yeah, this might just be Elon getting in on the game. Tesla got hacked. I gotta raise the price of my extremely cheap version of the car, the $30,000 version.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks, no more cheap electric cars. Basically holding that futuristic utopia ransom.
Yeah. And you had mentioned it before we started the episode today, but it's worth mentioning that this is CNN Politics. U.S. recovers millions in cryptocurrency paid to Colonial Pipeline ransomware hackers.
Yeah.
So, this is another one of those situations where, I mean, one of the things that I've said a lot with using cryptocurrencies for these hackers is like, why would you use a currency with a public blockchain where people that are much smarter and technical can trace the transactions, and if you slip up even a little bit, you can give away your identity or your location.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense to use like a Bitcoin or Ethereum, which is pseudo-anonymous.
This was a little bit of a slip-up in the narrative coming from especially government entities who are trying to ban crypto, specifically Bitcoin, because they're like, oh, criminals use Bitcoin. It's anonymous. Bitcoin, you can't track the criminals, the ransomware. And then CNN comes out, and just to read just the intro here. U.S. investigators have recovered millions of dollars in cryptocurrency paid in ransom to hackers whose attack prompted the shutdown of the key East Coast pipeline last month, according to people briefed on the matter. Notice how they don't mention Colonial right there. The Justice Department on Monday is expected to announce details of the operation led by the FBI with cooperation of the Colonial Pipeline operator. The people briefed on the matter said the ransom recovery is a rare outcome for the company that has fallen victim to a debilitating cyber attack in the booming criminal business of ransomware. So there you go. They recovered the ransom through Bitcoin. So it kind of dismantles that narrative of, oh, Bitcoin is the secret criminal money. We have to ban it. Well, apparently you got it back. So I think
Which
we're fine. I guess we don't have to ban it.
This whole thing could also be and typical of the FBI, to be involved in this. And nothing against the individuals that may work in the FBI. I'm talking about the greater sort of ethical problem with the organization. Any multi-letter alphabet soup agencies, but a lot of these can be inside jobs in the sense that, like, hey, either we get a white hat guy to see how well our cybersecurity is, and then, oh, there's a hack. Let's use this opportunity to, shut stuff down, or
create the artificial
scarcity, and at the same time, Colonial Pipeline. Who really was paying attention to Colonial Pipeline before the hack?
Nobody. In fact, the quote from the CEO was, nobody knew who we were before.
Yeah.
We don't really like all this attention. He just admitted being preferring to be a super secret giant behind the scenes corporation that nobody paid attention to.
Yeah. Same with JBS, meat packing company, who really was paying attention to that stuff. And I think it's all part of the great reset,
Yeah.
Creating the chaos and creating the order out of the chaos, and so on. So,
well, we'll see what Anonymous can dig up on Elon. I would be very interested to see what kind of hack they can pull off on him.
Yep. And just because we're in kind of a Bitcoin section here, the big news out of the weekend from the Bitcoin 2021 conference, which a lot of it was pretty cringe, a lot of yelling and stuff like that. But this is CNBC.com. El Salvador looks to become the world's first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender.
Yeah.
Big deal here for a country to use Bitcoin as legal tender. there was a very emotional presentation from Jack Maller, who's a guy behind a company called Strike, who's working on remittances and stuff like that. And I condensed this, it's like a 24-minute presentation, or maybe like 22-minute presentation, down to a couple clips under 2 minutes, or I guess the other one is a little over 2 minutes, just to get an idea here, because it plays into the sentiments of why people are really into Bitcoin and why it can be useful for the world and not. And I get it. I get the arguments about like, oh, this is the beginning of a one world currency and all that. But it's one of those issues where, okay, but what if it's helping people that are being destroyed by the U.S. dollar? And by the way, Jack Maller's here. After this presentation, he was completely banned on Twitter, which makes no sense because the other Jack, Dorsey, was at the conference. Well, he was like jealous that Jack Maller's got all the
Maybe he
attention or
bumped
something.
into him in the hallway.
Yeah.
Jack just takes out his personal. He gets mad at somebody or feels insulted and just bans them.
Yeah. Jack Maller's also the guy who sponsored the Bitcoin car for the Indy 500 last weekend. So anyway, here's a couple clips from the presentation.
So the Federal Reserve. Anyone know what that is? Central banks are increasingly taking actions that may cause harm to the economic stability of developing countries and emerging markets. This is a huge deal and a huge, huge problem. The large-scale printing of dollars by the Federal Reserve has an unintended spillover that's drastically impacting the quality of life of those less privileged and those that need help in developing and emerging markets. And we're facing unprecedented times. Check all the data you want that we haven't seen for a century. This is real, and it's happened, and it's happening now, and it's really scary. El Salvador is a great example. It's a country that uses the dollar because in a civil war they lost their own currency. It's a country where over 20% of the GDP is inbound remittance. It's how capital is influx into the economy. However, of that GDP, fees can be upwards to 50%. What that does is it causes individuals to rely on crime and violence, and it ruins the security of the country. But if you rewind those steps, if you can fix the money, you can fix the world.
Ooh, so quite a quote there. If you can fix the money, you can fix the world.
Yeah, sorry about the connection there. I don't know what's going on with some of my hardware. It's doing some stuff that's not great with the static and everything, but I think we got it under control. So Jack goes on here and talks about how he moved to El Salvador and how he, got to know the local community there and just immersed himself in there and started to get people onto Bitcoin, open, because people there don't have bank accounts. They don't even have access to bank accounts. Their ATMs don't work, but there's a local economy there. But they have cell phones. So this is the second half, and I edited this together again to shorten everything. And included in this clip is a message from the president of El Salvador.
And so then I got a message on behalf of the president of the country. And I met more of the government. And I became friends with the security guards. It's a big rifle. And they dropped some really heavy stuff on me. Over 70% of the active population in El Salvador doesn't have a bank account. They're not in the financial system. They had a huge problem of financial inclusivity and providing their citizens with basic human freedom. And so they asked me to help write a bill, and that they view Bitcoin as a world-class currency, and that we need to put together a Bitcoin plan to help these people and give them hope and give them a quality of life, and that you can live where you're born and you don't have to leave, and when you send money home, they're not going to take fucking half of it. And so with all that being said, I'd like to invite now someone I've spent some time with to share a message.
So emotional.
A
Ask almost anyone what they think about the future, and they will say something along the lines of nuclear war, climate catastrophe, hunger, pestilence, the death of life. We didn't take care of the beautiful idea that we create our own future. I believe Bitcoin could be one of these ideas. That is why next week, I will send to Congress a bill that will make Bitcoin a legal tender in El Salvador. In the short term, this will generate jobs and help provide financial inclusion to thousands outside the formal economy. And in the medium and long term, we hope to build a small position and
Central banks are increasingly taking actions that may cause harm to the economic stability of El Salvador. That in order to mitigate the negative impact from central banks, it becomes necessary to authorize the circulation of a digital currency with a supply that cannot be controlled by any central bank and is only altered in accord with the objective and countable criteria.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's poured his kind of life work into helping these people in El Salvador, and for him to get the government to do this is kind of a big deal, at least to him.
Okay.
And you know, I cut out a lot of the stuff about him meeting the local people there, and he met this one guy who's a fisherman, and he doesn't have a bank account, he doesn't have credit cards, doesn't have debit cards or anything like that, and how, you know, this guy Jack showed him how to start getting Bitcoin and use it in the local economy, and how it basically gave him hope and all that kind of stuff.
What's the thing? Yeah, okay, I get it. He's stoked. I mean, it's a big deal for El Salvador to be officially recognizing Bitcoin as a currency.
Panama is hinting that they might be next. So this could be the beginning of a domino effect in terms of countries that are willing to do this. And this brings up an interesting question because, in essence, Bitcoin is sort of an enemy to the U.S. dollar. Trump came out, I don't have the clip here, but Trump came out and said he still doesn't like Bitcoin. I think over the weekend, he's like, I don't get Bitcoin, I think it's a scam. I'm all about the U.S. dollar. Which I'm like, you know, I don't know.
He loves his Illuminati dollars, man. He's in the system.
I just don't get the whole, like, I get that it's kind of an America First message with that, but also the U.S. dollar is just, you know, it's destroyed countries.
This is also a generational thing, man. Anybody, you know, all the rich guys who are over 60, I would even say there's some 60-year-olds. Any rich guy over 70 is completely, vehemently, aggressively against Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a generational thing. Not to say that Bitcoin is any sort of savior. That's not really our point.
That's not the point either,
This is going to be interesting because the real hardcore Bitcoin people, they're sort of libertarian, anarcho-capitalist types, and I think we're going to see a lot of Bitcoin people moving to El Salvador.
Yeah, especially because the president of El Salvador tweeted yesterday, 1, great weather, world-class surfing beaches, beachfront properties for sale. 2, one of the few countries in the world with no property tax. 3, no capital gains tax for Bitcoin since it will be a legal currency. That's fantastic because in America, I think capital gains tax can be upwards of like 40%. If you live in California and you have less than a year of capital gains tax, it's like 43% right now. So it's out of control. Number 4, immediate to permanent residence for crypto entrepreneurs. So there you go. He's really the marketing to open up El Salvador to the world's wealthy. In terms of that whole concept, is a brilliant idea to do this.
Well, it's brilliant for a couple of reasons. First of all, we're not suggesting anybody go buy Bitcoin and move to El Salvador.
Right.
But from the El Salvadorian government perspective, you know, they're in a tough spot. They don't really have their own effective currency. They've been using the dollar because the Civil War, you know, ruined their own currency. It's just in a bad spot.
Yeah.
And with the economic troubles comes crime and things like that. So, you know, this is a response. This is the correct response when a different country bans Bitcoin or talks about banning Bitcoin. Because the problem is that, you know, Bitcoin Bitcoin is such a big force now, and there's so many people who are on board and making money from it, that I think you'll have a huge influx of Bitcoin millionaires moving to El Salvador. It's going to bring an incredible boom to their economy, or at least that would be sort of the surface level analysis. We'll see if it actually happens or not. But for a country that doesn't really seem to have a whole lot of other options, I could see how this would be an enticing way for them to try to bounce back and fill their country with millionaires versus, just having it sort of languish in a economy-less sort of void.
Yeah. So, something interesting. I think we'll see some development. We've already seen a lot of interesting developments surrounding cryptocurrencies this year. I still think central banks are going to issue central bank digital currencies. The digital yuan is already out there. The digital dollar, I think, may take some more time. It's just the U.S. is just so slow on acting on this stuff. Inflation's taking place, but there's philosophical differences between the pro-government economists who are like, oh, it's not really happening, to other people that are like, yeah, it's happening. Like, have you looked at the gas? It's just very interesting how the controllers themselves, the people that are close to the money printing press, seem to have a different opinion about the U.S. dollar than everybody else. Recent news about Russia starting to get rid of their dollars. It's a big problem. It is a big problem because, and I don't think people in the U.S. think about that in terms of like the short-term effects. Long-term, you have the mark of the beast, all that stuff. I get that. Short-term, if Russia's like, hey, we're getting rid of all of our dollars, and if like China starts doing that, all these big countries start doing that, where are all those dollars going? They're coming back home. You know what that means? Crazy inflation in America.
Another inflationary force.
Crazy inflation. So that means a loaf of bread becomes $50, $100, whatever. It'll be out of control. I don't know if that'll ever happen.
It's already crazy. I saw gas recently that was like $5.20.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Anywho,
so it's just one of those hedges against that, where if you can hold some Bitcoin for the short term, it's going to eat up that inflation instead of being stuck with a salary and stuff that's losing purchasing power every day.
Right.
So I don't know. That's my armchair to Satoshi's economic analysis from a podcaster. So don't take any of it as financial advice or any kind of financial analysis of any kind of weight. But there you go. That's just my take on things.
Okay, well, I think it's about time we check in with the aliens.
Aliens?
Where are the aliens?
Aliens?
Who are made by the aliens?
We're coming closer to disclosure, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, some stuff is supposed to happen in June, July, also one of the target dates. And just in time, independent.co.uk comes out with a headline, Obama predicts new religions could arise if proof of aliens discovered. Oh, man. Here we go. Former President Barack Obama predicted that concrete evidence of alien life would fundamentally change global society in an interview published Tuesday with the New York Times. Speaking with Ezra Klein on the Ezra Klein Show, the 44th president was confronted with a potential scenario in which humans had verified that alien life was probing the Earth. Strange way to put that, okay, but as of yet, had no way of making contact with the mysterious beings. Mr. Obama replied that his overall political viewpoints would likely not differ, while predicting that many people around the world would see their own philosophies challenged, and a whole host of new discussions would arise. Quote, it's interesting. I wouldn't change my politics at all because my entire politics is premised on the fact that we are these tiny organisms on this little speck floating in the middle of space, said Mr. Obama. Quote, but no doubt there would be immediate arguments about, like, well, we need to spend a lot more money on weapon systems to defend ourselves. New religions would pop up, the former president continued. Quote, and who knows what kind of arguments we get into. We're good at manufacturing manufacturing arguments for each other. Which I think is a little bit of the truth slipping out there as far as
tiny organisms.
Are you just doing an Obama impression?
I'm trying. It didn't really work out too well. I stopped because it just didn't come out right. But yeah, it's weird that he called us tiny organisms.
I mean, I don't know. That's just sort of what these sort of science-worshipping people like. That's sort of poetic and metaphorical for them, and you know, it shows that we have perspective, man. But what I thought was interesting was this quote here: "We're good at manufacturing arguments for each other." Now, you know, he's kind of saying that in a sense of like humans, we just don't get along. But coming from like an Illuminati figurehead, and especially a highly contentious one, you know, an elite saying we're good at manufacturing arguments for each other. The word manufacturing there is really telling. Like, yes, you specifically are very good at manufacturing arguments for one another. Your divide and conquer mastermind. Let's keep going. His remarks come ahead of the expected release of an unclassified report from the U.S. Department of Defense detailing unexplained phenomena involving unidentified flying objects and American military personnel. Former U.S. Navy pilots have detailed yada yada yada. Goes into everything we've been talking about for years. Little thing from the White House here. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki addressed the report's release last month at a daily news briefing, telling reporters that the extent of the information to be released was up to the discretion of the Director of National Intelligence. Yeah, there you go. That's it. So, Obama's ready. He's ready for the new alien religions.
Yeah.
Another opportunity for him to manufacture arguments for one another.
That was the point I was going to make, is that he's manufacturing this unsound argument, and also old argument that, you know, it's interesting. The people in our community have been addressing this topic of how a disclosure of aliens, you know, in the scientific sense, a biological entity or civilization that is not originally of Earth, allegedly, that, you know, most likely arose from some evolutionary process, like Richard Dawkins suggests. Would it create a new religion? Sure, there would be, you know, like new forms of worshiping these people or entities or whatever, but in terms of people within, especially like the monotheistic religions, which is Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, they've been talking about quote-unquote aliens for a very, very long time. You know, it's a conversation that's taking place for
With an environment
centuries.
as harsh as the one we live in, we can't afford to waste even the tiniest bit of our resources.
Other than to say
That's why we need a government that works as efficiently as humanly possible.
there are philosophical or theological renderings from each
GA and the superhumans have the strength to survive on this land.
to be able to
Their
adopt
regenerative powers make them near immortal, and their intelligence is second to none.
I don't know if you remember, Basil, but like, I think it was 2013, maybe.
So you decided to let
where
them
the
run
Pope
your
came out and was
government,
like, oh yeah,
figuring
I
they'd make
baptized
fewer
aliens.
mistakes than humans.
And, or maybe it was a Vatican official or something like that. But
People
yeah,
had
came
their
out and
doubts
said
about
that
the superhumans' government at first, naturally. But after their lives improved under their regime, they began to rethink things a
Judaism's
little.
a little different. The rabbi said that the Jews
And
are
then
the
it all
aliens
started
that
going
come from
haywire?
the planet or whatever. So, yeah, it's not
They
really.
may be
Well,
superhuman,
I
but
kind
they're
of
not
agree with you, but I'm
machines.
also going to push
They
back
worked as a
because I
team
don't
to help
think
cover
it's
each
not
other's
a big
weak
deal.
points.
So first of all, we already have alien religions. Like that, there's plenty of those. You go
But
down
one
to the
day,
southwest
GA
of
had
the
all the
US,
others
we
killed
got-
off
we
and
got
declared
alien
himself the
religions
head
all
of a
over the place.
dictatorship.
And the Raelians being
Guess that's what they get after basing their genes off the human race.
You will not find many people who approve of GA's actions here on Fargate. This may be the best chance we'll ever get to free ourselves of GA's rule for good.
a big sort of global manifestation about it wouldn't be a big deal for Catholics and the...
I didn't say it wouldn't be a big deal. I'm just saying they have a position
Right.
ready to go.
But when you talk about the prophesied one world religion that we know would be coming and has its connections and roots with the Antichrist and everything surrounding the Book of Revelation, the Book of the Revelation, it's not necessarily about new religions. It's about the conglomeration of three power centers of religion, being the Abrahamic religions. And, I think there is a form of new religion that has been predicted is not quite the right word, but by, academics and scholars who are focused on the end times narrative, where the Abrahamic religions have a potential to see sort of a mass deception that
What's up, Millie? Is something on my face? No, that's not it. But, well, listen, Perichi. Can I touch your tail? It looks so fluffy. How did you get it to be so fluffy? Come on, tell me. Well, the truth is... Uh-huh. All you gotta do is a lot of puff-puffs, and it'll get really fluffy. Puff-puffs? Yeah, puff-puff. 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 Puff-puff, puff-puff. Puff-puff, puff-puff.
What are those two up to?
combines all three Abrahamic religions to include some sort of extraterrestrial Messiah coming down.
But that was the premise of Age of Deceit in 2011, and I don't necessarily think that that's off the table, because it would obviously shake up especially your normie kind of follower of any kind of religion or any kind of spirituality, because I think a lot of New Age type of philosophies and religions will easily adopt aliens into their whole.
There's plenty of room for it, within the New Age.
But you're right in the sense that yes, it will sort of, in the minds of many, it will create a level playing field for the existing traditions, especially the major monotheistic religions, to come together in a sense of like, hey, maybe Jesus was an alien. That's part of it ties into the New Age thing there. But I agree with you there. But what I'm saying is that there's, in terms of what I feel, I'm not saying that like people, like your day-to-day people aren't gonna make a big deal about it, but I just don't see it as, until we even with like a dead body, I don't know that that would even do it. I think it would have to be like a living thing, like, hey, here's President Biden and his new president of the world, or whatever of the world, some other world alien ambassador guy, and here they are on the lawn talking about hairy legs or whatever. That kind of thing would have more impact. So until that happens, I don't think just proof of aliens discovered is going to change much of anything other than affirm certain biases of people that exist in all kinds of fractured or fragmented, the society that is fragmented already. So, I don't know. I think we I don't think we're on different planes here. I think you're just kind of coming at it from a position that we had, been on for a long time regarding this issue. And I think for me, I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying it's going to have to be, because, especially scripturally speaking, it does say that God sends a strong delusion. It's got to be something pretty intense when it all goes down.
I guess what I'm not understanding, what you're saying is that if the government comes out and says, yes, there's definitely aliens, there you go, we got the proof, here's some proof, they're here, they're flying around, we don't know much more than that, but yeah, they're definitely there. I guess what I'm saying, I don't think the very next day the Pope and and all the leaders of the world religions are going to get together and like make some huge announcement, but it's definitely a big turning point that will start the process.
Sure.
Because once you have the proof, then it's a short leap to say, oh yeah, and here's Gazorpazorp. He's been here for a while, and now that we've reached a point where we have confirmed their existence, he's revealed himself, and yada yada yada. And that may never happen, probably won't happen. It's kind of like the most fantastical idea as far as it's sort of I don't know, it's hard to imagine that actually happening. But what it does is signal the beginning of a shift in sort of the consciousness of regular human beings. Whereas once the idea of aliens was sort of shrouded in mystery, and everybody who talked about aliens is sort of considered some kind of alternative thinker, or into weird stuff, where now it becomes an accepted viewpoint within the scientific community or something. Even that on a social level is a pretty big shift. Whether or not overnight Biden comes out with his alien ambassador and the Pope says let's worship these aliens, just on a basic mass consciousness level, it's going to be a huge shift.
Well, that was my whole thesis though with this whole thing, this whole psyop here.
Oh, so I just said it better?
No, I mean, no. The whole thesis has been that the UFO thing with Congress is meant to shift academics, certain types of cosmology, or like the pillars of mainstream science, because that itself is a religion, by the way, the way it's constructed and operates. It's come to the point where, unless there is, some kind of shifting of the narrative and the proof, it's hit a wall. There really isn't much more other than a standard materialistic, almost a nihilistic view.
Yeah, you're talking about the secular mindset.
The secular mindset.
It does not have a lot of room for expansion at this point.
Philosophical materialism has kind of failed to explain reality.
It's hit a dead end, for sure.
It's a dead end. So, and this has been ongoing for this past decade. And so adding the alien agenda into that helps revive scientific materialism or reductionist materialism, because it's like, oh, hey, there's more that we don't understand. And what people don't realize, I guess, is that they are tapping into a more spiritual conversation, a religious conversation, if we're talking about entities that are beyond humans, because humans are, what do you call them? Tiny, what is it?
Tiny specks. That's he just stole that from Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Tiny
That's not even
organisms.
interesting.
No, I'm just saying, yeah, but that's what I'm saying, though. He stole that from Neil deGrasse Tyson because he's one of the pillars. Although he's been getting a lot of backlash with this alien stuff. I don't know if you've noticed that.
He's a mega anti-alien person.
He's getting a lot of hate from all the
It's
people
really
who
funny
love him.
to watch.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess it's I don't know. This doesn't really shake me too much, or make it just kind of confirms a bias about.
You're talking about Obama?
Yeah, the Obama religion.
Yeah, of
thing.
course it
Kinda
doesn't
like,
shake it.
okay.
We've been talking about the alien deception religion for years.
Yeah.
At least 10 years. So, but it's just funny for having it come from his mouth as maybe one of the biggest influencers of certain generations in America. It's anybody could say, hey,